Rolling.
Rolling.
Hi!
Yes, so we are at the House of Photography, Fujifilm's House of Photography, for a brand new product. We've got it right here.
Woo! You may know this already.
Yes.
But you don't know it's not X-H2, it's X-H2S.
Yeah, unless they saw the rumours on Fuji Rumours.
Oh, only I don't know that. So, we can't mention it, we don't really want to have much time, we got 1 hour share between our two. So, I'm just going to straight into the X-H2S, the most amazing feature, I think, is 6.2K. I mean, it's not the first camera with 6K. The one we are using, I mean, not the one we are using, we don't have that, but I mean, Panasonic have 6K. I love that. But yeah, you have it here. Because, I mean, the 6.2K, it is 4:3, I think, as I remember. 3:2. 3:2. But then you can still crop back into 16:9, and you can still get 4K out of it with open gates. I love that. Actually, I prefer 6K more than 8K because 6K is just a little bit of open gates you can do, but 8K is just too much pressure on buying card, buying new hard drive, maybe a new computer. Also, ProRes HQ, ProRes 422 internally. That's why this time, for the first time, I think it's for the first time that you have to use, I mean, you can use CF Express. If you shoot ProRes, you have to use CF Express, but there's a CF Express and SD card slot. This is it. It got they emphasize these two buttons. Oh, it's rubbery. It's good, and yeah, it is good. I mean, it's a reasonable size, but then it has a reasonable size grip as well. For reasonable, I mean, it's good. It's a comfortable grip. And then on top, oh, signature, the G-SOX style LCD screen, huge as well. I mean, not as big as GFX, but still, it's great. You can customize this screen, and it's got a backlight because it's a G-SOX style, as I mentioned. And now, this one, it doesn't have the shutter style. Usually, I prefer the shutter dial for Fujifilm camera because it's just hipster, isn't it? But then for this kind of, if you use this for video shooting, I mentioned it last time in X-H1 review that the shutter speed dial, it doesn't have 1/50 per second of a second. There's no 1/50 here. So if you're shooting PAL system, if you're shooting 25 FPS, you have to set it to 1/60 and then use the wheel to change it 1 knot to 1/50, which is okay. Awkward, it works, but awkward. But now you just have a Bob standard PSM mode dial. Okay, in the back, you got flip out screen, and then, oh, why is there some screw hole there? Is it from the last owner? This is for add-on fan. This is a connector, which is quite interesting because it looks like an aftermarket fan. So you take this away, and that's the fan. It's funny that there's no hole at the back, and it's just metal on metal. And just put it on, screw it on, yeah. You got extra setting in the menu to set the fan. But then, yeah, you can't flip the screen. You can't put this in your bag like that. Good and bad, I mean, obviously, if you don't need it, you don't need it. You have a smaller camera. According to them, if you shoot 4K 60 at 25 degrees Celsius, it can shoot for 240 minutes with or without fan. It actually no difference when you're shooting at 25 degrees Celsius. But if you're shooting 40 degrees Celsius and we are talking about 4K 60, without fan you can only shoot for 17 minutes, but with a fan, 51 minutes. That's really accurately. I hope they give data for the second as well. I'm joking. On this side, full side HDMI. My headphone, the usual stuff, USB, but one thing worth mentioning is that the HDMI and then the mic jack, it won't block the screen. but not the headphone jack, but I mean the mic jack and HDMI, yeah, it won't block the screen. Still, capability is great too. 40 fps electronic shutter. For mechanical shutter, 15 fps. That's not bad, isn't it? I mean, check it out. And I have to find the menu for, no, hang on. Still mode, find the menu for shoot without a lens. Screen setup, no. Sound, no. Oh, valuable time. Where's the drive mode? Right here. Mechanical shutter! 15 fps. With
Set off the alarm.
Yeah. Set up the alarm as well. One thing interesting is that you said you sold your X-T4 because you don't like the exposure changing in steps.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it.
But then they said now it got stepless, I mean smooth aperture control. Let's see. Oh, very bright. Do I have to turn on something because it's still in steps? Oh no! We just found out new information. Is that it's lens? It's the lens. It's a lens that got stepless aperture control. So it sounds a little bit like long time ago when Nikon, when you shoot video with Nikon, you have to stop the video recording before you change aperture. Something like that. Obviously, it's not really mechanical connection between these two. So let's try this stepless. Yeah, finally. Yeah, it's stepless. And Fujifilm released the X-H1 before. It sounds like it's video oriented. And this one also, X-H2S. Is it video oriented? I'm not too sure. Fujifilm isn't really the obvious choice for video shooting for some reason. I mean, they're not bad, but then when people think about shooting video, they will get Sony's, Canon, Panasonic. Well, Fujifilm didn't even make it clear it's the X-H2S made for video, but it's definitely not a replacement for X-T4. They have the same 15 fps mechanical shutter continuous burst. The main difference is the X-H2S shoots 6K ProRes. We'll have to see is all this good enough to make people consider Fujifilm for video shooting.